Okay, playing on the Imperial Agent, I got a chance to do a little hands-on with that, and thankfully the rest of the Darth Hater team is picking out the other 5 classes that we're able to see today. There's definitely a kind of a tactical feel with the Imperial Agent that I got to check out, and there's definitely a kind of a open world feel to it. It's not like you're stuck on a conveyor belt just running through a thing. I saw a bounty hunter running through the same area that I was running through, and things like that, and my teammates were grouped up with them and whatnot. A lot of these MMO tropes that we see in other popular MMOs about is it a theme park or is it a sandbox? Can we get an official declaration on what you guys consider it to be? Theme park, sandbox?
Unfortunately, we are definitely not in one or the other camp. What we've always looked at is it needs to be a guided experience, and when we say that, we mean you need to know what to do next. If you log in and you're somebody who wants guidance, you're somebody who's in there playing a game, you're somebody who's used to playing role-playing games, used to playing more guided MMO, you always need to have something very clearly there as an objective, and that's what the story is great for. It pulls you through the whole experience. At the same time, if you don't want to do that today, you need to have a game that has enough features and enough fun things and enough stuff happening that really is sort of being created organic fun out there that you can just go, screw off for the day. And you and your friends can say, hey, you know what would actually be really fun? Let's go see what's on the other side of Alderaan, because Alderaan is huge, and I've been Alderaan for hours and hours and hours, and I've never gone to this area. So let's go over there, and we want to put things that are going to reward you for doing that, right? And we want to have things that, and that's why, obviously there's so much stuff that, again, until we get it done, we haven't talked about the crafting stuff, we haven't talked about marketplace, we haven't talked about trading and economy and all of that stuff, but it's all stuff that we're hugely into. You guys probably noticed that we stick crafting in single-player RPGs. You really don't need crafting. We love crafting, so it's going in whatever. It's going to go in KOTOR anyway.
So in the same regards, you mentioned the world size, how you can spend hours and hours and hours on Alderaan, and then you go off and do something. During GDC, we were talking about Ord Mantell, and we heard that it's huge, and yet it's still almost one of the smaller planets.
Ridiculously smaller. The Origin worlds are way smaller than any of our other planets, because we need to get you prepped, and then we actually need to get you off them in a reasonable time.
Okay.
So no, there is no comparison between an Origin world and a standard tour world.
So, do you guys have a working understanding about scope? I mean, I'm not asking you how many planets there are. Obviously, you got the marketing message with that. But on a single planet, how much usable space for the players are we talking about?
It really does depend. It really does depend on planet. So I definitely wouldn't give you a kilometer size.
Right.
Some planets are far more. A planet that's going to go up is obviously going to be far different. Like a Coruscant is going to be far different than a Tatooine so it's really hard to...
Surface area is different when you've got it
Correct.
stacking.
It's really hard to actually look at. If you looked at maps of the two of them, you'd be like, wow, Coruscant's much smaller than Tatooine. But then when you play it, very different experience.
And it's multi-tiered and everything
exactly.
like that. Well, see, then in the same regards that goes along with that, people have been really interested on the forums, on our forums and on the official forums, about getting that freedom feel that you're talking about with that. And so these ships are going to give people... So every planet that they go to is going to feel like home, but it's still going to be a different planet because they're going to have their companions along with them.
Absolutely. Space is home, right? Being able to travel the galaxy is what makes you feel like you're in Star Wars. And then you're going to come to each of these planets, and there's going to be a ton of space to run around. And, our thought is that people are probably going to choose particular worlds that they tend to hang out in. Right?
They're gathering places.
Yeah, and they may not actually be the ones that we think they are, right? We're always making sure that there's enough space that people can do their own thing on each of the planets, even if it's a backwater hellhole desert that nobody should ever want to be in their right mind. We know people are going to be like, hey, everybody, we're partying there, right? So we need to make that space and give people the ability to play where they want to play.
So in the same regards, people want to play where they want to play. You've got this massive world, you've got this large scope with everything. Is there any more information about getting from this place of one scope to another? We're going to be transferring there on our player ships. Is there any information we have currently about how that's going to work? Are we going to be flying the ships? Are the ships going to be magically teleporting there?
What is the actual
What's the transit? Is it a loading screen or is it an active?
Have not talked about.
Once again, people are going to ask. They're going to ask why I didn't ask. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, then we got to stick with story. We're going to finish up here in just a second, but can't talk to you and not get on the story thing. So, do you have, from what we've learned so far, we've heard a lot on other articles about the origin stories of the 6 classes we're talking about today,
Right.
just not the 2 Jedi classes.
Correct.
Out of those 6, is there anything interesting that you worked on personally, or anything that you developed, or anything that you extremely enjoy about those origin stories that we've heard about that maybe you would like to talk to the general community about?
Sure. I think the thing that's the biggest excitement for me, and hopefully you guys will get to see when you sit down and talk to each other about playing the classes, is how different the game feels from playing one class to another. They actually feel like very different RPGs. You pick up the agent, and it is smart, and it is deep, and it is subtle. The things you're talking about are actually fairly complex plot concepts, and then you're going out and you're making these very strategic sort of setups for your combat, and then right past you, as you said, comes the bounty hunter, woo! And he's shooting missiles, and he's just had this discussion where they were like, setting up the great hunting. He's like, whatever, let me blow stuff off, right? And when you start one of them, even in the same world, and you start another, it feels like a very different game. And the class stuff actually let us do a smuggler RPG and a Sith RPG, a Sith warrior RPG, and all of these. And the part that people still don't have their head really wrapped around is that experience. If you're playing a Sith warrior start to finish, and then you go and you play a Jedi Knight start to finish, you're never going to see a single repeated quest or a single repeated piece of content. That's 100% unique experience, front to back. And that's huge.
So that really is what you had mentioned, what you guys focused on last year. This isn't just the Old Republic. This is KOTOR 3, 4, 5, 6,
Absolutely.
7, 8, 9. Are we...
Well, no, I talked to Robin, and she wanted to do another interview too.
You're right, yeah, by all
So
means,
yeah,
if all
so
possible.
if you want to do like 1 or 2 last questions with Daniel, I have Blaine.
Aces. Okay, yeah, by all means, Okay, then brains off the rocker. We'll let it sit in just a second. Okay, well, anything else about... we kind of focused on the idea that classes play differently with the story there. And then with you on the... Well, I mean, not just play differently within the world, but the story is so different. It's completely different, new characters and things like that. Do you have a class that's your guy, your favorite? This is the one that so far you're locked on to.
Not talking about story, which clearly I can't play favorites on that one. Although I will say that the first world for the Bounty Hunter was written very well. That was mine. From a gameplay, I love the agent. I am a sniper rifle guy. I always have been. Like, if you say, hey, this game has a guy with a sniper rifle, I get excited. And it's really, really come together to be all of my fantasies of that type of combat, which I didn't actually think we were going to be able to do that in this space. When the combat guys came and had this concept, I was trying to picture that in an MMO world with a party and doing it, and I couldn't see it. And I play it now, and it excites me to no end.
Thank you so much for that. As the Darth Vader representative of the Imperial Agent class, that is just about the best thing I've heard all day. And that includes being able to watch the gameplay. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. And we cannot wait for everyone to be able to get their hands on.
Absolutely welcome. Hate on.
There you go.